Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Today is a little bit different. I am hosting. I'm Bian, and we have our co-host Sadie and our very special guest Nick. Thank you guys for joining, and please feel free to add any comments as we go on. Nick is one of the mentors here at the Digital Summer Clinic. Nick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everybody. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Nick Woods. I was actually part of the clinic back in 2018, so happy to be here. Prior to that, I worked at iProspect, which is like a digital advertising agency for General Motors, doing paid search. And currently, I am a senior account manager at Google. But yeah, nice to see everybody and happy to be here and super happy to answer any questions. So yeah, definitely feel free to put anything in the chat.
Nice. All right. Oh, let me get right into the questions here. What were your initial career aspirations and how did the internship experience shape them?
Yeah, it's a great question. Honestly, like I don't think I had any like to like top level. I think one thing that I knew I really wanted to do was get into marketing. And so during college, I was like, okay, well, what can I do with that? Like, where can I go with just the marketing thing in general? And that's kind of when you start to dive in a bit deeper and find out all the different like sub levels and different sections of marketing and advertising. And so for me, it was Google Ads, where I worked at a small like concrete company local to Ypsilanti near the campus actually, and I was running their Google Ads accounts. I was doing an awful job, like totally just wasting ad dollars, but having fun and learning a ton. And I was always on YouTube looking at different strategies, search engine land. Like I just kind of started to get involved in it, and that's the direction I knew I wanted to go. But even that was still like super high level, just like digital marketing in general. And so it was really cool when I got to the internship where they're like, okay, what are you good at? But not only like, what are you good at, but like, what's your interest? What do you want to do? And so for me, I knew it was the digital advertising, search engine marketing. And that's something that I did start really early on in the internship program that I was paired with. So that company is Genomenon, which is a biotech startup based out of Ann Arbor. And once I expressed that interest, I was able to actually run the Google Ads account. I think like back when I first ran the first like official campaign or a few campaigns, I was really excited, even though all they did was like increase their like impressions, which for those who don't know is just somebody viewing the ad. There's not a whole lot of like action outside of it. There's not a whole lot of like money behind it. But I was like, oh sweet, I got like 100,000 impressions, 100,000 people viewed it, and like high fives all around the office. So just kind of learning like what's important, what moves these businesses was really cool for me. And honestly, just having that place where you're able to, not only like make mistakes, but find out new things as well. So learning about more into like Google Ads and different things like email marketing, trade shows. When you work at these companies, you just cover so many different jobs. And it's really a great idea if you kind of have a general idea of what you want to do, because then you can dive in and find out what truly motivates you, what truly you're passionate about.
That's great to hear, Nick. Like I have heard this story from you like a lot of times, but it's always so like fascinating to hear it like again and again. But yeah, thank you so much for that.
Mhm.
So my next question is kind of related to the first question. So it'll be more like specific because I know you have done a lot of like projects and there are a lot of moments that were like really defining for you. So what were like some of those like that you can remember during your like internship period, like a certain project or a moment that left a lasting impact on your professional development?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think to touch on the first part, like I definitely believe that ads was something that I really started to like hone in during that time. So working on the Google Ads campaigns, seeing the results, across like Google and Microsoft paid search. One of the things too that's really cool about it is that when you, again, like I said before, you touch so many different components of marketing with a lot of these startups. They don't have a huge team, and then that team is very specialized, and so you kind of will just wear a ton of hats when you are a part of these companies. Anywhere they need help, they'll put you. And I've worked on a lot of projects that were like huge emails that we've sent out, a lot for like different conferences that a lot of our executives would go to try to network, and a lot of those actually they would like book meetings through the calendar invites that we'd send via like this huge email blast. I thought that was so cool because a lot of these meetings were actually like, turning into something, and they were, grabbing lunch or grabbing dinner or grabbing drinks after these trade shows. And we're actually like having these huge deals come through. And I thought that was so cool. Like something that we were doing, what I thought was like a smaller scale was having an actual impact, you know, kind of outside of our office and seeing those results from the sales side. But one thing that I do remember, and it just came to me, where it was nothing really to do with marketing. And it's kind of interesting too, because my role right now is definitely sales. Like I have advertisers, I have a book of business, I have goals, I have metrics that I need to hit. And so it very much is a sales role. And I never really knew about sales or like how to transfer those skills. And I remember like just sitting there, probably crafting emails on like MailChimp. And then our director of sales, James, came up to me and he's like, "Hey, we're grabbing lunch down the street with a prospect. Like, do you want to go?" He's like, "It'd be super casual. Like, you know, we're just working on something with them. I think it'd be like a really like cool thing to just sit on." And I was pretty nervous because it's like, oh, like I haven't even really like talked to you that much, so I'll try it. And so we went, and it was just so interesting to me because it was so relaxed and like I'm trying to like think of the actual like meeting. I don't remember who it was with, but it was with like two executives of another like pharmaceutical company like in the area, and you wouldn't even told like been able to tell that it was an actual deal or like a business dinner or lunch or whatever it was. It was very like calm, very low key, just very like I'm trying to find the right word and it's escaping me, but it was also like really inspiring. So I'm like, this is so interesting. Like he's managing this pipeline right now. He's doing a deal, but it's coming off so casual, and just like he's not actually working right now, and he's almost just talking to a friend. And then it taught me a lot about sales actually, just because you come off you don't want to come off like super salesy or like super eager, and he just wasn't. It was like one of those things where it wasn't like a direct project or something that I was working on, but it's just one of those moments where it was like the right place at the right time to learn this like huge lesson that I honestly still take back to this day in a lot of my like calls and pitches.
Wow, that's very inspirational. It's really the little things that make like the biggest difference. All right, the next question we have for you, and also our last question, is what tools or techniques do you find most effective in fostering growth, confidence, and skill development in your mentees?
Yeah, I mean, outside of the basic ones, I would say of like certifications, it's always good to have those. I think, especially if you wanted to get into more of like a technical role, you kind of have to have these like specific things on your resume. It also just helps open up a lot of doors and gives you a lot more additional knowledge to like the different things that you're doing in search engine marketing. But my biggest takeaway, and I think the biggest thing too with this clinic, is definitely just asking questions. I think that is the biggest game changer that any of us can do within the internship and the clinic itself. Just because there's so many people out there in these programs that are willing to just give you so much information. And a lot of them have decades of information and experience that they're just willing to share. But again, you have to ask the questions. You have to be willing to like sit there and listen, because if you're not, it'll just be a waste of an experience. You really need to take full advantage of it. It's going to fly by. You know, a few months, 3 months is not a very long time. And so being able to make it as impactful as possible is going to be a huge game changer. So ask questions and network. A lot of internships, a lot of like startups, everybody knows each other, especially in the Ann Arbor area. So just getting to know those key players and then being able to, you know, add them on LinkedIn, be on like a first name basis with them will be critical just for the future.
I think that was great and very inspirational. All right, so a couple questions that we have. The first one is going to be from Bud. The question is, what has been the progression of Nick's role at Google? How did he start, and how do promotions work?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And so I think I'll like take it in pieces because it's really interesting. So my job is definitely a sales role. Like I mentioned, I have 55 advertisers who I work with, and I just really try to help them with their Google Ads account. And really, at the end of the day, to stand up to companies like Walmart, Target, Amazon, and Temu. So making sure that they actually have a fighting chance, because a lot of them have very similar products to those ones like overseas. And so just making sure that they have some kind of competitive edge, which you can do in Google Ads. So that's awesome. Progression of a role. So yeah, obviously with any other company, but especially at Google, it's very hard to, I think, like hit that next mark. It takes a few years to actually get like promoted and to work on that. It's a huge process. You have to have a lot of like wins under your belt and be consistent with like how you're doing work wise. So my job hasn't changed at all from my last role, which was just like an account strategist to a senior account manager. all that changes really is just like the different like responsibilities and things. So day to day is like totally the same. I still have 55 accounts. I'm still in the same program. It's just at a different level of that. And so, when you are at that next level, what I really try to do is be more of like a mentor at work. So helping out with a lot of the Nooglers, helping out anybody that's having a really tough client, joining calls, almost having that experience, just because when you have so many new people and even being there for 2 years, you kind of feel like the old guy in the corner, like a veteran. Like a lot of people still come up to you because everything's so fast paced. Everything is moving like just so rapidly at that company that you get experience very quickly. And so, yeah, that's what I would say. Anytime you're looking for like promotions anywhere, really, I think leadership is going to be like one of those most like pivotal factors.
I agree. I think that was a great response. All right, the next question is also from Bud. What motivated Nick to become a mentor in the summer clinic?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think honestly, it's such a great asset for anybody in the area. Like it's so hard. Like I want to jump on a soapbox and just like preach the clinic because it is so powerful. I mean, I definitely attribute it to where I am today because I was a commuter to Eastern. I didn't know anybody. Once the classes were over, I was racing off to Hungry Howie's to deliver pizza. And in the morning, I would work at the concrete company, just doing like call center jobs, organizing, doing their advertising, doing marketing, emailing people. And after that, would just go to school. So I didn't really have time to make those actual lasting business connections. And the internship gave me that just awesome thing on my resume. So it was something that every job I've ever had has always asked about, and we're really curious to know more about it. And I think honestly, without that, I totally wouldn't be where I am today. Like it opened up a lot of doors. I met people at Google that I was able to communicate with and kind of figure out how the process works, how getting a job, how difficult it is, what kind of questions were asked, things like that. And so to be able to come full circle and be a mentor in the summer clinic was huge for me, and an opportunity that was like a very quick yes for me when I was asked.
Great response. Speaking to other interns, they always said that the digital summer clinic has been the launch pad to their career, and I
Mhm.
totally couldn't agree more with that. All right, before we head out, I want to thank everyone again for watching our live today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Digital Summer Clinic, and all of our media platforms so you won't miss anything.
Awesome.
And to everyone watching, we thank you again for joining with our special guest today, Nick. And tuning next Thursday at 5 with our guest, Sufyan. He is the marketing department head at Eastern Michigan University at College of Business. And also, he's also one of the mentors at Digital Summer Clinic. So have a great week, everyone. And we hope to see you again.
Bye, everybody.